throughout this last build-up week and also during the Australian Open.
Very welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much to Josh Eagle. As I said, such a successful doubles player. He knows exactly how important those, dynamics are within a doubles pairing. Josh Eagle. Thomas, he went on, he married his doubles partner, Barbara Shedd. So good to have him on. And here's hoping he's right and the special case can win. But certainly those singles commitments are a massive consideration. If you were a Wimbledon finalist last year, as Nick Kyrgios was, you're wanting to have a long run, as Josh said, at his home Grand Slam.
Catherine Murphy, thank you very much for joining us. Catherine's back in half an hour with more sport here on ABC News Radio. Maddie Preslin's taking you through the morning after the news. Hope you can stay with us. The SPY 200 is beginning the day in a slightly negative territory. It's down 0.1% in futures trade. Bit of a mixed bag on Wall Street overnight. The Dow Jones down 1/3% at the close 2 hours ago. A flat finish for the S&P 500, down 0.07%. The Nasdaq, different story, up 2/3. And the Australian dollar, 69.1 US cents. Sarah's ready for 5 minutes of news. Thanks for your company this morning. We're back at the same time tomorrow for breakfast on ABC News Radio. Let's see how the weather is shaping up for your Tuesday, the 10th of January. Fine in all of the capitals today. Mostly sunny in Brisbane, a top of 31. It's 26 now. In Sydney, partly cloudy and 27. Currently 23. For Canberra, sunny in the national capital, a top of 30. 23 now. In Melbourne, the cloud is clearing towards the top of 25. 18 at the moment. The clouds clearing in Hobart as well, a top of 20, 16 now in Tassie. In Adelaide, sunny in 32, 23 now. Sunny in the west as well, a top of 33 in Perth today, 27 now. And sunny for your Tuesday in Darwin as well, 33 in the top end, currently 29. News time, Eastern Daylight Time is 10 o'clock. It's 9:30 in South Australia, 9 o'clock in Queensland, 8:30 in the Northern Territory. Good morning in the west, it's 7 o'clock.
Sarah Hall with ABC News. The Federal Minister for Emergency Management says the government will provide as much ADF support to Western Australia as it needs in response to record-breaking flooding in the Kimberley. Yesterday, the government announced it had made emergency relief funding available to help those who have been displaced or affected by the floods. Murray Watt says as well as financial support, the Commonwealth will continue to deploy defence resources to help.
As of today, we expect there to be about 200 troops in the Kimberleys, whether that be Broome, Fitzroy Crossing or other communities. We now have a total of about 8 aircraft, 3 large planes, 5 helicopters.
An advocate for an Indigenous voice to Parliament says moves are well underway to establish details about how it will work. The opposition wants the public to be provided with an outline of how the voice would operate before it goes to a referendum later this year. Megan Davis co-authored the Uluru Dialogues and says details will be provided, but people need to be patient.
Some sectors of the Australian community have been clamouring for detail from the moment Albanese was elected, even before the government was sworn in. But they've set out a process, and we're working towards that. And it's understandable that people are curious, but there is a process in train.
The Pharmacy Guild says a nationwide shortage of common antibiotics highlights the fact that Australia doesn't manufacture the drugs here. Several antibiotics used as first-line treatment for pneumonia, strep throat and other infections are in short supply or not available at all, and many pharmacists are needing to come up with alternatives. Head of the Pharmacy Guild, Trent Toomey, says Australia represents only a small market for foreign drug companies.
Unfortunately, it is getting worse, and this is a direct result of the fact that, we don't make stuff in Australia anymore, and we're only 2% of the medication market globally. So we're not a really important market for these global manufacturers.
Residents in the Northern Territory have reported strong tremors early this morning after a powerful earthquake struck in waters off Indonesia. ABC reporter Miles Holbrook-Walk has more from Darwin.
It was, again, that low roar and rumble, and it woke everyone up in our apartment. We're just at one floor above. The higher above you are, it tends to be the worse it gets in terms of things being shaken off and knocked over. I had a couple of photos just behind me that were knocked off their perch, but certainly a developing situation. Thankfully, no tsunami issue or no tsunami warning for any Australian islands, territories, or the mainland.
Thousands of Brazilians are gathering in Sao Paulo to demonstrate in support of democratic values. The protest comes a day after Congress, the Supreme Court and the presidential palace in the capital, Brasilia, were stormed by far-right rioters. The clean-up operation is continuing, along with the mass arrests of those suspected of taking part in the disorder. A new UN report says Earth's protective ozone layer is slowly but noticeably healing. More from Linda Gruen.
The ozone layer shields our planet from harmful radiation linked to skin cancer. More than 35 years ago, every nation in the world agreed to stop producing chemicals that are thinning the layer of ozone. Scientists now say they found recovery in progress. It's slow, but they say it's happening at a pace that would fully mend the hole over Antarctica in a bit over 40 years. Scientists across the world have long praised the efforts to heal the ozone hole as one of the biggest ecological victories for humanity.
The US House of Representatives is today voting on the rules that will govern it for the next 2 years. It comes after last week's contentious election of Republican Kevin McCarthy as Speaker after an historic 15 rounds of voting. The rules include several changes that will limit Mr. McCarthy's power, including allowing a single House member to call for his removal at any time. And an American football player who suffered cardiac arrest and was resuscitated on the field during an NFL game has been released from hospital in Cincinnati. Doctors say Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin is now flying back to New York, where he will continue to be monitored by a care team. The 24-year-old's heart stopped after making a routine tackle in the first quarter against the Cincinnati Bengals. Doctors say they're ecstatic about Hamlin's recovery, with him already being able to walk and eating regular food. I'm Sarah Hall, and you're up to date with ABC News. For more, you can download the ABC Listen app.
You're listening to ABC News Radio. I'm Mandy Presland, coming to you from Gadigal Land. Thanks very much for joining us. Coming up in the program, pharmacists warn a shortage of antibiotics is making people sicker and leading to preventable hospitalisation. And record flooding in Western Australia's Kimberley region causes widespread destruction to homes and infrastructure. Clearing in Melbourne and Hobart, mostly sunny elsewhere. The Fitzroy River in the Kimberley region has reached its highest level since records began, with hundreds of residents forced to evacuate from floodwaters. Emergency Management and Agriculture Minister Murray Watt has been visiting the region with the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese.
From the air, both as you're approaching Broome and then obviously heading out towards Fitzroy Crossing, the land, the water coverage really goes as far as the eye can see. The Fitzroy River is coming down quite quickly. The flood levels are receding in most parts. But what we've been hearing over the last few days is that at points at the peak, the Fitzroy River expanded to be about 50 kilometres wide, which is just an enormous amount of water. So, yeah, it's a massive flood, and as you've heard, it's a record-breaking flood in what is already a very wet part of Australia.
And what are they telling you there about the prospects for the remainder of the wet?
Well, there's certainly some concern about that because a lot of people aren't aware, but in the wet season in northern Western Australia, it